Hello, welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Frank Omalape, and here are some of the reports we are filing at this time. President Goodluck Jonathan has sworn in 8 new ministers and handed them cabinet positions with slightly more than 2 months to the end of his first tenure. A brief swearing-in ceremony took place in council chambers of the Presidential Villa, Abuja, just before the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting. In his address, President Jonathan described the newly appointed ministers as players injected into a football team at the last minute of a major game. He consequently announced Musiliu Banikoro as Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Patricia Akwashiki, Nasarawa State, is to take charge of the Ministry of Information, while Joel Danlami of Taraba State is new Minister of Labour and Productivity. Others are Professor Nicholas Adar of Benue State, Minister of State Foreign Affairs, retired Colonel Augustine Akobonde of Abia State, Minister of State Defense, and Fidelis Nwako of Benue State as Minister of State of Health. The others are Hawa Papa Jigawa State, Minister of State Niger Delta, and Kenneth Okubani of Rivers State, who is also Minister of State for Trade and Investment. And now President Goodluck Jonathan has approved the appointment of Samuel Ogungbeson as acting Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Presidential spokesman Ruben Abati says the appointment is with immediate effect. Ogungbeson was until his appointment a coordinating director of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. He replaces Kabiru Mashi, who had since 2012 been acting as Executive Chairman of the agency. Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba has threatened to arrest and prosecute anyone who tries to disrupt the forthcoming general elections. He issued a warning in Abuja while addressing command commissioners of police on election preparation. Abba also reaffirmed the police readiness to ensure adequate security before, during, and after the election.
Are allowed in the polling booth. Because as of yesterday night, I heard that.
Thank you very much. Make no mistake about it.
Anyone who tries or attempts to disrupt the national elections will be arrested and will be prosecuted. And these attempts can be outside the polling units, can be around the polling units, can be around the collation centers, can even be after the declaration of the results. Whoever wants to take the law into his own hands should have a rethink. And the law enforcement and the security agencies are together in this regard. If INEC makes the decision that there will be one agent for each political party at each polling unit, any other person who acts as agent is committing an offense and will arrest him. Because it is very clear under Section 129. If you cannot behave yourself well at a polling unit, which is a radius of 30 meters, if you cannot behave yourself well, then you should better leave. If you try to intimidate anyone, it's an offense. If you solicit for vote, it's an offense. If you carry any weapon, it's an offense. The offenses are so many. I will even advise my enemy to stay clear. Because if you stay there, yes, keep your cool, but there are many temptations.
The All Progressive Congress Presidential Campaign Organization has served notice of its intention to file a petition against President Goodluck Jonathan at the International Criminal Court. This comes few days after the ICC acknowledged a receipt of a similar petition against the president's wife, Patience Jonathan. The APC campaign team said in a statement signed by its spokesman, Garba Shehu, that the petition follows the terror unleashed on Lagos residents by those it described as pro-Jonathan groups under the cover of a faction of the Oodua People's Congress. The presidential campaign spokesman claimed that the machete-wielding and gun-bearing individuals were chanting anti-Jaga songs in a manner that showed that they were pushing a carefully prepared script to truncate the general elections. He also noted that investigations have shown that the situation was a dress rehearsal for the violence the group planned to unleash in Lagos and the southwest on election day. Shehu claimed that the recent $9 billion pipeline surveillance contract to OPC and some militant groups in southern Nigeria was used to mobilize pro-Jonathan armed groups for the election. He also wondered why the presidency had been silenced on the issue, as well as the bombing of the APC secretariat and the disruption of the party's campaign rally in Okrika, River State, where the First Lady hails from. The leadership of the National Human Rights Commission has been meeting with the major political actors in Kaduna as part of measures to douse rising tension in the state. The commission chairman, Chidi Odinkano, is at the head of the team that has in the last few days held separate meetings with Governor Mukhtar Yero and his All Progressive Congress counterpart, Nasir El-Rufai. The Rights Commission team also held talks with the leadership of the Independent National Electoral Commission and the police.
That gave us a lot of cause for worry. River State, Lagos State, and Kaduna State. Now, these states are also very strategic in Nigeria. If you look at this...
Those who experienced what happened in 2011, I don't think anybody is praying for it, where the whole of Kaduna would remain indoor for good 1 week.
None of our people have been engaged in attacking. No, since this campaign started, and we are very proud of that, and we continue to preach accordingly.
We are ready for peaceful election, and go and watch all my campaigns. I have been preaching peace. I've been asking for our people to remain calm.
With just few days to the 2015 presidential elections, the international community is keen on ensuring that the March 28th date remains sacrosanct. Speaking after a closed section with the APC's presidential candidate, a special representative of the United Nations Secretary General Jeffrey Feltman disclosed that talks have been held with the two major political parties to this effect. He also said the visit further afforded an opportunity to share ideas on ways of tackling insurgency and terrorism in the country.
It's important now that the elections have been announced the 28th of March, that this date be respected, that voters be allowed to go out and express their views of the candidates peacefully on March 20th. It's a very strong message we have from New York.
President Patience Jonathan has described the opposition party APC as lacking ideology. Speaking at a women rally in Ilorin, the First Lady canvassed votes for her husband as she enjoins women and the PDP to eschew violence ahead the general polls. Our correspondent Rashid has more.
Barely 24 hours after the visit of Aisha Buhari, the wife of the president, Patience Jonathan, also brings campaign to Ilorin. Speaking with gathering of PDP women, she admonished them to eschew violence as the forthcoming election, in her words, is a sealed deal for the PDP.
PDP is not shaking because we are there. As far as we are there, there is no need for PDP to be troublesome. PDP is peace-loving people. So my children of Kwara women, I know that you are peaceful people and you are not abiding people. Keep it up, and keep it up. The women, we are not contesting election. It's the men, our husbands, that are contesting. Our own is to pray for them. Our own is to make sure they succeed. Our own is to make sure to guide them and protect them. Women, don't let yourself to be loyal.
The First Lady took a swipe at the All Progressives Congress in what she describes as a party lacking ideology following its frequent change of names, saying the party may be heading towards embracing Ebola as a name.
Every day they change from one name to this bear drug to another name. Very soon Ebola will answer. When they fail finish, they will change to another name and answer Ebola. Now they are dead will come. Because I know that they will fail.
On their part, the governorship candidate of the PDP in Kwara State and other party stalwarts declared their expectation at the polls.
To show our appreciation to our father and to this peaceful family is to do what? To vote our leader, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Any head of government, any head of state, any president before in Nigeria that has done what our leader, President Jonathan, has done to us in Kwara State. The only thing we can assure you is that inshallah, come March 28th, we shall, inshallah, compensate Dr. Jonathan with our votes.
And you can see with the number of women that have come out to receive you here today, be rest assured, come March 28th, from Mr. President up to our reps and senators, will be PDP all the way.
As campaigns intensify with the general polls a few days away, the effect of these campaigns would only be felt when Nigerians decide through their votes. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Meanwhile, the First Lady, Patience Jonathan, has taken her campaign train to the Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party to further solicit support for the re-election bid of her husband, President Goodluck Jonathan, in the forthcoming polls. She was represented by the wife of the Vice President, Amina Sambo, who outlined the benefit of a continued Jonathan administration. Our correspondent Olajumoke Olatuji has details in this report.
In her continuous support for the re-election bid of President Goodluck Jonathan in the coming elections, Patience Jonathan, who was highly represented by the wife of the Vice President, Aminat Sambo, held a rally with PDP women in Ogun State. Aminat Sambo assured women of more participation in Jonathan's administration if voted back into power. The former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, urged for a continuous embrace of PDP at the national level and a recapture of the government house at the state level. Meanwhile, the governorship candidates of the party, Gboyega Isiaka, assured party members of total commitment to the development of the state if entrusted with their votes.
We have said clearly that when we were doing our low-cost housing in Ogun State, we created the first real workers' estate called Ladere Workers' Estate. And we sold low-cost housing to our people at less than 1 million naira with a deposit of only 500,000 naira. They are still there, they are living there. These administrations have also done their own housing. But I was informed that the price of each of the houses is 25 million naira. Is that a house for the masses or for the elites? Those are the questions Ogun State people will have to answer.
Is that after they were president almost 40 years ago, this country has moved so much forward. And we don't want to go back 30 years therefore, we need a president that has fixed our railways. We need him to continue.
The state has for a while now been battling with some major internal crisis that raised its ugly head after the governorship primaries last December. But today's rally created an avenue for what has been termed as a reunion of godfather and son. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
You're watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more stories after this time out. Join us again.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? How are you, sir? How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.
It's CoreTV News at 4 live from our Lagos studios. For more information on our news and other programs, like our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at CoreTV News NG. And for live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. A former vice president and chieftain of the All Progressive Congress, Atiku Abubakar, has dissociated himself and denied from the groups of politicians who announced their defection to the People's Democratic Party. He insisted in a brief statement issued by his media office in Abuja that he remains a committed member of APC. Atiku Abubakar also claimed that the politicians who described themselves as his associates were not known to him. And our former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gali Marunaba, is now a member of the Board of Trustees of the All Progressive Congress. This was after he formally announced his defection to the opposition party within few days of opting out of the People's Democratic Party. Naba was received into APC by a high-profile team of party chieftains led by the national chairman of the party, John Odigi Oyegun. Our correspondent Pius Samuel has more.
It's campaign season, but APC leaders are prepared to take a temporary break. This is because of what party chieftains are convinced is a big catch in the political cycle. A former Speaker of the House of Representatives has, within days of dumping PDP, opted for the opposition party.
I had always told our leaders that we cannot continue to rule this country on the basis of divisiveness. We can succeed in this country without maligning other parts of the country, because we have all it takes. All the regions in this country have comparative advantages which we can build on and succeed.
He was well received by APC national leaders at a brief ceremony at the party secretariat.
APC, to register, we have to generate 12 million members to populate 14 organs and 4 other organs. And as we speak now, we are heads above that 12 million.
2 years ago at a meeting of all parties, I had cause to warn this government that the Naira was going to exchange for 200 to 1 by the 31st of December 2014. Yes. 14 years ago, I had cause to warn that violence of a nature never seen in this country was going to occur in the north, forced by alienation, careless politics, and a declining economic fortune.
Naaba only left the ruling party a few days ago, but APC believes that he is big enough to go straight into its board of trustees. The party chairman spoke on the importance of having a personality of the caliber of the former speaker in the opposition.
Today, we are receiving a personality of indisputable quality into our ranks. A man of achievement, a man of principle, a man who has displayed in no uncertain terms that he shares the ideals of our party. For a long time, he struggled, he worked within the fold of the PDP to see if he can steer the ship back to safe waters. But of course, all that to no effect.
The party leaders were clearly basking in the euphoria of their new member and are looking forward to receiving more defectors from a party they say is in disarray.
Away from that, now the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has refused to grant government's request for a secret trial of the alleged mastermind of the Nyanya bus terminal bombing, Aminu Uche, and 5 others. The resumed trial of the suspects, Prosecution Counsel Mohammed Diri made an application for the witnesses that will testify against the suspect to appear in mosque. But Defense Counsel Ahmed Raji objected, arguing that the accused person's rights to fair hearing will be curtailed if those to testify against them wear masks. In a short ruling, Justice Ahmed Mohammed held that witnesses to testify against the suspect will not be hooded. He further adjourned till April 2 for continuation of the trial.
The prosecution wanted their witnesses to be protected from the public, and that in giving their testimony they should be allowed to wear some kind of a device, by maybe mask. And we don't mind excluding members of the public generally, but that preventing us from seeing their faces when the circle is already limited, the audience is already limited, and the judge agreed with us that wearing of mask will not be allowed. But the audience should be limited to the lawyers, the accused persons, and the witnesses.
And outside Nigeria now, Tunisia officials have confirmed the death of at least 7 foreign tourists and a Tunisian after government targeted a museum in the Tunisian capital. Local Tunisian radio say British, Italian, French and Spanish nationals were among those taken hostage. The shooting happened at the Bado Museum, which is next to the Parliament building in central Tunis. At the time of the attack, deputies were discussing anti-terrorism legislation. A parliament has now been evacuated. Interior Ministry spokesman Mohamed Al-Rouid said most of tourists have been evacuated, but some are still believed to be inside, adding that security forces have entered the museum. The museum, renowned for its collection of antiquities, is a major tourist attraction in Tunis. Concerns about security in Tunisia have increased as neighboring Libya has become increasingly unstable. A large number of Tunisians have also left to fight in Syria and Iraq. Tigrin worries that returning militants could carry out attacks at home. And it's a wrap now at CoreTV News at 4. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Bye for now.